You got to look at disclosure first. Oh, I like this song. Hold on. If you want my heart, babe, you're gonna have to work for it. Yes, work for it. No one wants to work for anything these days, right? Anyway, take a look at disclosure. Let's get to it. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:33. I apologize. I said I'd be here at 6:30 in order to make sure you're not sitting around waiting around for me to come. But you know what? I was a few minutes late again. For some reason, the earlier I get up, you still have so much to do to get out. Anyway, hopefully you're feeling well. Had a great weekend. I know in the Northeast, finally the sun came out, and you were able to get outside and sweat it out, hopefully in the mountains or on the beach or wherever it is that you do, and kind of relax the brain after last week. A week ago at this time, everyone was jumping out of their seats. Oh my God, the market's crashing, the world's going to end. And guess what? Cooler minds prevailed. Anyway, if you take a quick look here, right, look at the chart, because that's what we look at. We don't like opinions. We like charts. We came in last week. We started talking about pretty much buying from 515 down, maybe to the 200-day. It hit 510. That's it. From there, you had a bunch of different trades last week. Every single day during the 630 Club, I had a little bit of a different narrative. I'm going to do the same thing this week. First day was buying the belly of the beast. Second day was, could we fill this gap? Remember the 523 to 528. Then would we be rejected in the 8-day, which we did? Then, was that it? No, they trapped everybody. And then all of a sudden we hit 534.51. So now what? You know what? You heard of V's and W's in technical analysis land? Well, here is like your first V bottom. Okay, now the question is, where does it go to hit resistance to then maybe in the end of August, September, does it wind up turning into some kind of W? You're not going to, I'd like to map things out. You're not going to hear this yet until all of a sudden you get the peak, you come in, and then everyone starts talking about the retest and this and that, and then how the V becomes a W. But at this point, you don't know where that peak is. Right now, the SPYs are at 534. Okay, 534 is right here. So if you map it out, you have the PPI tomorrow, the CPI Wednesday. If the PPI and CPI are light, chances are you get one more push. Okay, and anyone who started shorting early gets squeezed, and then everyone's like, oh my God, I was trying to buy it and got hurt. I was trying to short it, got hurt. That's why just wait for compelling areas. So into this close, okay, what I did is just to kind of have something on, I shorted the 541 calls for next Friday for $2. So that means I get short right here if we get there. If God forbid something happened over the weekend and Iran bombed Israel and we were World War IV and we were down a lot, I wanted to have some kind of, fade on there. It didn't happen. And the Olympics went off awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed the Olympics where you have a great time. What a freaking awesome Olympics. So nothing happened. So anyone who was playing for chaos over the weekend is getting squeezed. So the question is where? So 534.50 is Friday's high. If it gets above there, then this is 537. That's why I have that here. Then the moving averages, and then the brick wall comes in from where it broke 540. Here's 542. So now I'll wait until after the PPI CPI, because if it is cooler, you probably get another push, maybe to 540, and then I'll short this, and then we'll see. At that point, we'll be overbought, and then we'll see, do we get, the start of what could be, a W. But this is like kind of mapping it out. We could open up today, a dollar, and then it could go down a little bit, and then all of a sudden the PPI is a little stronger, or the CPI, and then instead of getting to this area, we'd start to see what happens. Do we hold 528? Do we hold 523, etc.? So having multiple plans and mapping it out are key. And the question is, what's going to happen with our different setups? Before we get going, I just want to say hello, see who's tuning in. We got Tapan Danik in the house. We got Krushnik in the house. We got Scotty Gids. We got Dominic. What up, what up? He's liking Mondays. We got Johnny. We got Pags is here. What up, Bobby 4.0? And yes, we did, we did buy some natural gas. That's up 5%. That was a PD play. But anyway, so we'll see. I'm just drawing ahead. So here is the zone. If you didn't buy in this zone, you better not be buying if we see that zone. And if we wind up opening up and fading, then we'll see what happens here. So there are some tight setups. Where did we make most of our money real quickly last week? We made it in Apple. 1 week ago, yes, it was, I was talking about buying between 202 to 196, into the retest of this breakout that happened here at 199. And look at that week. It was a great week in Apple. And now, you have the gap fill. You coming into resistance. It's a little trickier. So now this gap fill is basically done, and we'll see what's next. I would not be buying Apple here today if you didn't buy it last week. A lot of things look like this. Some things are tighter than others. Okay. Some people are like, well, Red Dog, look how tight Tesla is. Tesla's pretty tight. If you didn't get caught in this upper wedge post earnings, now maybe it can get above this 204 to see this kind of move. So I'm kind of thinking that this is something to focus on if heavy volume comes in, just as a tactical cash flow play. Doesn't mean it's going to fill this gap. Doesn't mean it's going to 271. Doesn't mean Elon's a genius. What it means is you have a tight lower area, probably still some shorts left over, and maybe there could be a trade there. So this is on my radar. This is in the top of my list. Look at Marcos from sunny Spain. What up? And Austin's in the house. That's something there. As far as some other setups, everything, someone's like, Redler, why'd you say Meta is going to be the best name, moving forward? I'm like, well, I didn't say it's going to be the best name moving forward. I said it's technically the best setup for when this market, which it's already kind of relaxed, but I don't think it's going to stay relaxed. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. It'll be one of the first high beta tech names, Meta, Mag 7 names that probably makes a new high. Okay, I don't see any of these, in that arena ready to make new all-time highs. Some percentage-wise might do better, but overall, this is above the 8 and the 21 days. Seems like 527, 542. If you remember, it also had good earnings just at the wrong time. So Meta is probably one of the best to be set up to go to all-time highs, and Tesla is tightly wound, and Apple already filled the gap. So you have all these different things going on. Okay, NVIDIA is interesting. NVIDIA is pretty tight. NVIDIA doesn't always get this tight, and NVIDIA will give us some clues if some power wants to come into some of the semis early. Here you go. With NVIDIA, you could be long versus 103, and if it gets above 106, you then have 108, and then all these moving averages. So maybe there's a trade to here. But if we're going to open up and go red and blah, 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 then basically, which it did on Friday, we might have an inside day today waiting for the PPI and CPI tomorrow. So you don't want to overtrade. But NVIDIA has been a great leading indicator pretty much for the last week. Last week, if you remember this one too, I was buying NVIDIA. I'm putting bids in from 92 down to the 200 day, and I think I got filled at 90.60. Anyway, it wound up going to, or something like that. Yeah, there it is. And then look at that. You had a little red dog reversal here too. Remember that? When I think I tried to pressure this, it didn't work. And then a lot of guys flipped here at 98.69, which was the prior low. So lots of ways to tactically approach this bad boy. Some guys say, well, Red Dog, AMD responded the best to earnings. Maybe there's a setup there. AMD has been very hard and very tricky and a pain in the ass if you want to really call it that, which I will. If you remember, it had this move on earnings and then failed. So it is tight. So again, a lot of these lower tight patterns that, maybe they give you a cash flow trade to the moving averages, which will be like a brick wall. So this high from that day was, this is 136.48. This is 139 from here. So this is 136.48. Let's put that in there. 136.48. Okay, gets above 136.50. What's next? Probably 139. And then the moving average is above. What's AMD doing this morning? AMD is up 69 cents. So we'll see. So I'm coming in. I'm not coming in guns a-blazing, like I did last week. Last week I was coming in from Montauk. It was 2:45 in the morning. I was drinking the big gulps, driving here to make sure I'm ready to go to keep you guys safe and sound. This week's a little bit more relaxed. We'll see how it goes. We'll see where do we push to based on the PPI and the CPI. And again, you don't have to be in 100 things to make money, but not everything's worth your time. You want me to look at, XOM? XOM, I put this out here, I think last Thursday. Looking pretty good. Look at this tight pattern in XOM. I don't like to play the energy names, but XOM looks really good. You go to the weekly chart on XOM and you're like, wow, look at this channel here, ready to go. Big money has been accumulating this guy for, pretty much since 2022. So if you want to be in an energy name, XOM looks pretty darn good. I get it. Square CEO bought 25 million shares. All right, these crypto, whatever you want to call type names are tough. But yeah, so okay. It's just this is erratic as hell. You remember we made good money in Square back here when it was above the 8-day and had that nice trend. But since then, here it broke. I don't know. It feels like this is coming into all these resistance. This doesn't look any different than anything else. Okay, but again, it has a little bit of room if it wants to. If you didn't buy it here, if you're buying it into here, it's not. I don't think it's a great. What's up, Barcelona? It's not a great setup. As far as UNG, some people are like, Red Dog, why'd you buy UNG? I'm like, well, if you remember back here, my UNG guys, my natural gas guys, I'm not a natural gas guy, I'm a technical guy, said that that natural gas could go into the $20 area. So we made really good money, if you remember, here before the double top. And the same guy was like, Red Dog, we think UNG can go to 17. So I bought options. I bought the 15s for September and October. Actually, what did I buy? Yeah. And we'll see how it goes. At this point, technically it looked a little bit better. It has some room. It was just something different than Tesla and Apple and Amazon and this and that. Oh, Amazon. I guess Amazon can get into this gap for a trade. It tried a little bit on Friday. Amazon's been really a big pain, to me, in the last 3 months. Jeff, stuffed out the Red Dog right here, said, I'm not letting this go. He was selling every share he can, and then it broke. Thank goodness we have a plan to get out. I lost in options. I got out of the stock, and but then a lot of people made good money last week because look at this 150 area. I'm like, you guys could be selling puts, you could do whatever you want here, and it was just a different setup. So now the question is, can Amazon get into this gap? It probably can, for a trade, especially if the spies are going to go, to wherever that upper area 540ish. This probably will fill some kind of portion of this gap because Jeff probably doesn't have offers out anymore. He only likes to do it into strength when it looks like there's going to be momentum, and he takes all the momentum out. Yes, Palantir, Rolando, we were talking about this last week. Most guys bought it versus the pro earnings gap like Trader Stewie. The pro earnings gap is right here, okay? Gave you a level to trade against, which was 25.50, never filled the gap, and then pow. Pretty damn cool that, a name like this could do that when the market's, still down 7 or 8% off the high. So again, ON's one to watch. Jim says ON right now doesn't really have a great setup here, but it's been in a downtrend. People are trying to look for direction in the semis. This is 78ish, so there is some room. They're not expecting much here. So, if they're not expecting much and they get a little bit more than they expect, it usually goes well. So yeah, that's a good idea to look at this, just in case. As far as Bitcoin, I know it's down today. It's had a big move. So Bitcoin from 49,000 to 61,000, it's not a big deal, but hopefully you bought the dip. If you look here, I'll leave you with Bitcoin because then I got to jump. Red Dog's got a lot to do today. Bitcoin right here. Still in this channel. I'll tell you, this channel is long. Some point it's going to change. So I guess you could say like this. Okay, here was that, the stop out that, everything else did also. Came right back into the range, pushed up. It was good to know 62 is the prior area that it broke down from. That's where it went to. And now where to get to? It went back to 57.6. So you could make this like this. This is your new point of reference. Points of references are the ones that count, not opinions. And this is 57.6. So we'll see what happens here. If this, will be the low of the week. And then if it wants to jump back into that quadrant. But all in all, this has been definitely a tricky long channel. If you tried to play a breakout here, you got hurt. A breakout here, you got hurt. If you thought it was done through the bottom, it popped back up. And that's what ranges are meant to do. Ranges are meant to wear you out. So when the range resolves, you're not making free money. So, I talk about asset allocation. Well, Bitcoin, if you are an asset allocator or part of an asset allocation program, buy a little bit every month. In the next 10 years, chances are this thing's going to be 80, 100 or more. Same way people do with gold. But The other 80% better be in equities, and you better do it monthly. And if you can't do it monthly, you do it like Red Dog's blood in the street account. Yes, the blood on the street account went to work, and everyone was very happy. Everyone always asked me, when is the blood on the street account going to work? Well, I told you guys exactly when it did. So it went on the close on Monday. So if you don't have a blood in the street account, you're like, I'm going to buy my swing account when Red Dog does his blood in the street account. You did it at 517, and congratulations to you. You're a 534. That's that's not so bad. That's what, 17 points higher and probably a few 100% in different options or whatever. So for you, it's the blood in the street strikes again. You're 17 for 17. For me, one tier is put back to work. I don't take that off until we go back to new highs, and I don't add a tier unless Sugar Honey Iced Tea hits the fan again, and we'll see. As of now, again, we'll leave you with the spies. What's going to happen here into the Tuesday and Wednesday PPI? It's hard to tell except for here's the gap of 537. Here's your huge resistance. If we were to see this through Wednesday, chances are it's a better sell than buy. If it's a little hotter and we come back in, chances are this is a better buy than sell. So map it out. I appreciate you, dogs. I'll see you tomorrow. Or join me on the Alpha team where I'll be all day trading.